Joining us is National Senator Matt Canavan. Good to see you, Matt. Hope things are well. We will get to energy in just a moment. I do want to ask you about Greg Combet, though, and his plan or his idea that he's put forward this morning that the excess profits that could be made or the excess tax that's raised from increasing taxes with those who have more than $3 million in super should be shared, should be given to people with lower super balances, including women who tend to have lower balances than anyone else.
Well, Peter, the problem with this is it's just going to make it harder for all Australians because it will reduce the incentive for people to save. Superannuation should be there to help for your retirement. It's been a relatively good system in this country, and the more the Labor Party tinkers with this, the less will be the incentives for people to save for their own retirement, because people will be wondering now, why bother putting away for your own retirement when a future government, probably a future Labor government, will just come and raid it to pay off for their own particular purposes. The real problem here is we've just got no plan from the new government. The Labor Party seem to be floating more balloons here than the Chinese Communist Party right now. Every day there's some new idea about how they're going to take away your money in super to suit their own political needs. As I say, that is incredibly destructive to the incentives for people to save and invest. Labor should leave our money alone and let people get on with their lives.
Speaking of our money, the Grattan Institute has warned this morning that taxpayers will have to pay out billions of dollars to compensate companies if the price of carbon spikes above $75 a tonne. Taxpayers going to be on the hook here, Matt?
Well, I was able to dial into a little bit of the Senate inquiry into Labor's new carbon tax or so-called safeguard mechanism yesterday, and there's a lot of unanswered questions here. It's pretty clear that no one really knows what the price of carbon will go to. As you've alluded to in that question there, the government has decided to try and cap the price at $75 a tonne, which is more than 3 times what Julia Gillard said the carbon tax had, but still a cap. But we do see carbon prices in Europe over $100 Australian a tonne. In New Zealand, they're around that $70 Australian a tonne. So we really don't know where this price will go and therefore how much people will be on the hook for. Now, with that cap, as Tony Wood from the Grattan Institute has pointed out, that could mean billions of dollars have to come out from Australian taxpayers to bail out this new Labor climate policy. Now, maybe that's where your super money will go. I think it's less going to go to any of these low-income earners or people struggling. It'll more go to pay off Labor's silly policies that they haven't thought through. There's been no modelling here. There should be proper government modelling done of this new carbon tax proposal, so we all know how much it's going to cost us.
Well, I mean, Chris Bowen, would argue that there is modelling and that the price won't exceed $75 a tonne by 2030, and that minimising cost is all part of the mechanism.
Well, to be clear, what needs to happen is some computable general equilibrium modelling, CGE modelling, which is modelling that looks at the whole economy and how it interacts with each other. That kind of modelling has not been done by the Labor government. And the modelling they did do before the election was not worth the paper it was written on, because it assumed, or it said, that the prices would go down by $275 a year for everybody. They've walked away from that commitment, and that lower price is what actually drove the job creation that the Labor Party, or most of the job creation the Labor Party identified. So all of the so-called benefits of this that was sold before the election have proven to be completely untrue, because, as we know, the Labor Party can't deliver us that power saving they promised before.
So should there be a price cap then, or should it just fluctuate depending on the market prices?
Well, I don't think we should have it at all. I don't think we need a carbon tax. I think people are struggling right now to pay for their bills, and we don't need more taxes on the Australian economy to make things more expensive. Keep in mind, this will be a tax that applies to airline flights. It applies to Virgin and Qantas. It'll apply to some public transport networks that are over the 100,000 tonne cap. It will apply to our last 2 oil refineries, putting up the cost of providing petrol to Australian consumers. These are sort of things that are not needed in our economy right now.
But if there is more,
businesses are struggling. We've just seen a major.
If there's more,
sorry, go for it.
If there's more coal or if there's more gas that comes online, and the Labor Party has said that they're open to that, wouldn't that bring the price down?
The price of the carbon credits?
Yeah.
No, they'll go up. The price will go up. If more. This is the other big problem that was exposed yesterday, is that how will new investments in coal, gas, other things that create carbon dioxide be treated? Because they will, of course, increase demand for carbon credits. at the moment. They'll have to buy and offset almost all of their new emissions for those investments. So this is a massive new tax on new investments in Australia as well, in those industries that are making money for this country and propping our nation up. More than half our exports now, more than 40% of our exports are in fossil fuels, in coal and gas and oil. And this will basically mean a massive big hurdle for any of those new products, because they'll have to enter the carbon credit market, increasing demand for carbon credits, which will push up their price.
Okay. Matt Canavan, appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.